Janae Wright, and I am here with the one and only
Lola.
Yes, and we're here. We're just gonna sit here. We're just gonna chop it up. We want to talk about a little bit about mental health, relationships, and all that what goes into all of that stuff. But definitely, we think that it's very imperative to have a conversation, especially within the Black community, because I just want to jump into it. Like the stuff with mental health is very serious, and I feel like it's a stigma within the Black community that especially our Black men feel like they don't want to go see therapists, or especially getting in relationships and come to find out that your spouse don't want to do group therapy or seek therapy for themselves. So like for me, like I feel like I had to do a lot of searching within myself and understanding who I am, and understanding that we can talk to mama, sister, brother, cousin, them, but at the same time, they're not licensed professionals. They didn't go to school. Like the same way that I feel that when you feel like you don't fail and you don't broke an ankle or something, what you gonna do? You're gonna call the 911. You're gonna get the ambulance. You're gonna go to the hospital. You're gonna see a doctor. Right. You're gonna see a doctor, but at the same time, I feel like we don't have that same energy with mental health. We have mental health professionals, mental health doctors. So I think we should use that same energy and that same resources. The same way we go to the other doctors for everything else, I feel that we forget to go and seek help from our mental health physician.
That's so true. We try to self-medicate a lot, and not just substance abuse. I mean, it could be food. It could be a person. That's the way we've been told to handle it, or just don't say anything at all. And I'm sure you can kind of relate to that too. Like growing up, well, you just don't tell your business. You just don't, you keep that to yourself, or you keep it in-house. Keeping it in-house a lot of times, it really, really, really works on your mental. You can become overwhelmed. You can become depressed, have anxiety. And you're like, why am I feeling like this? It's because you're not releasing everything that's on you. We are not made to hold on to what's the word I'm looking for? I guess store.
Yeah.
All the traumas that we do store, they should be let out. They have to be purged, so to speak, in order for us to be healthy mentally. There's no way we can even fathom, okay, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And we have so many other things going on in our head. And me and you were talking earlier about expectations. We have expectations. Other people have expectations of us. That in itself is a burden. So growing up, I come from a background, as we spoke before, where if you didn't do what you were supposed to do, you got dealt with. What we call whippings, beatings. But you didn't run to school and say, my mother hit me or my mother beat me. No, you took it and you went on. And now we're seeing that wasn't always the right thing to do. Because we've held in so much trauma. So now we grow up and then we have expectations of our children, or our mother, or our sister, or our brother, or our friend, or our spouse. We have this expectation, and then when we get let down, it's like, oh, okay. Well, let's discuss that. What do you think about expectations? The negative and the positive. It's not always a good thing, because as we discussed before, a lot of times we're expecting something from someone based on their potential, based on what we think, they should know what to do. Well, I expect that because you're a grown man or a grown woman. I expect you to know. Everybody doesn't know. And you can't project your expectations of their performance on them.
That's good. It's really good. And within those unspoken expectations, I feel that a lot of us within the Black community, we this word called understanding. We have an understanding of what we expect from one another, but that's something that we don't speak of.
Yes.
So I feel like that's like an innuendo of it can be misconstrued with, well, you didn't tell me, so I didn't want to assume that that's what you meant, even though we have this understanding that if I do this, you do that, or if you do that, you do this, or we have this expectation of each other that we never had the conversation about. So I feel that within expectations there needs to be an understanding, number one. Number two, there also needs to be a conversation. So communication, how do we communicate? What's the form of communication? I feel that how do we make it clear? Because we could talk all day, but did you understand what I just said? Or do you know what to do after I said that? Are we following up? It's the same thing in business. I feel like, we give instructions and we say this is what we want. I did this exercise with this advisor. She's like an advisor with a relationship, whatever. But we did this exercise where we had to write instructions on how to make peanut butter jelly. So our assignment was, we had a pen and a paper, and my assignment was how to we had to write thorough instructions on how to make peanut butter jelly. So what I did was, I said, okay, well, you get 2 loaves of bread, you put the peanut butter on this, and you put the jelly on that, and then you make a sandwich and you eat it. So,
but that was your interpretation,
right?
That's what you did.
That's what I would do. That was my instructions, and I assumed that whoever was going to read it will understand because this is peanut butter and jelly. So after that, we had to mix our papers up and give our papers to a random person, and they had the peanut butter jelly and everything there, and they had to follow exactly the instructions that I gave them. So based on the instructions, they didn't know what utensils to use. They didn't know what type of bread that they needed to have. They didn't know what else. Some people like it toasted, some people don't. They didn't know if they wanted the peanut butter and jelly on the same bread or opposite bread. They didn't know to put the 2 breads together or to fold each one in half. And they didn't know if they wanted cut it or slice or anything. So those are the little details within the directions that I did not put, but I assumed that by me just saying, "Oh, we're making peanut butter jelly. This is what it's supposed to be." Yeah. But even though all of that is exaggerated, because everybody knows how to make peanut butter jelly, but that was just a small bit of understanding the big picture of having expectations, unspoken expectations, where we think that we're supposed to assume we have assumptions where people are supposed to know that they really don't know, and then when the expectations don't get met, we get upset and we get disappointed.
Yes, and that you made me think about something. Them making the sandwich, or you making it a certain way, and them making it a different way. We all have different perceptions. So mentally, it's easy to get disappointed because we think, well, why didn't they do it that way? Or why did they speak to me the way they spoke? Why did they look at me the way they looked? Why, when I said this, they took it that way? And I'm bringing that back full circle back to mental. We can't function without a healthy mental. And if we're always burdened or clogged down with, they thought I was stupid because I didn't know how to make that sandwich the right way. Because I'm sure with some saying, I want to do it this way, but people are going to look at me, or they expected me to do this, but I do mine this way. Like you said, toasted or untoasted. Who would even think of that?
Yeah.
But there are people
like
that say, "Oh, I like mine toasted." I mean, growing up, I never heard of no toasted.
And then what type of bread? Like some people like it on wheat bread, white bread, whole grain. You know, it's different types of bread. What type of bread are you talking about?
But it all goes.
How do you know they don't want the first? You know, the black people, they don't. You take out the first
bread.
Take the first part of the bread.
Right. We don't want the first piece of bread. Right. And but you don't know. Yeah. But again, if you don't know, then it's like, okay, well, you know, I just assumed that that's the way it's supposed to be. And then mentally, sometimes that can really bring about depression, and not just the sandwich, but like you said, the bigger picture of expecting, maybe not getting what you expect, or your perception not being what someone else's is, or someone else's not being what yours is. That can bring about a lot of not just depression, I guess anxiety, because I want to get it right. I don't want to look crazy. I don't want to do nothing wrong. You know, there's a lot that goes with that. And then along the lines of relationship-wise, like you said, communication is very important, but knowing how to communicate to your partner is even more important. Yeah. Because I can tell you something and tell somebody else something, and you're like, well, I know this shit. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what but somebody else like, well, I thought you meant this. So that too can be an issue. And now you're mad, or you're feeling not heard, or you're like, oh, they just don't care. They heard what I said. You know, they just don't pay any attention. They just run in a room. You know, now you feel isolated, and it's not that. It's just that you didn't communicate the way they understood.
Yes.
So their understanding may have been minimal. Their understanding may have been, oh, yeah, okay, it's all right. And going about their business, and you're like, but wait a minute, this is something big to me. This was something serious. So now you harbor that, and mentally now you're feeling, oh, well, why they didn't do this, or why they didn't say that? They didn't respond this way. They didn't respond the way again you expected.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, you know, people are dealing with a lot of tragedies from the past, trauma from the past, and it's all about expectations. Most of the time, I would say, because we expect understanding, we expect empathy, we expect, especially from family members. Yeah. Let's point that out, especially from family members. And sometimes, I know this is going another way, but sometimes family members are not going to be your greatest support. Yeah. But we expect that because it's our family. So yeah, a lot of times, you know, we, again, in the Black community, we walk around with a lot of baggage. We don't know where to drop it off at. We don't know where to set it down at. We're too afraid to set it down a lot of times. Or we're worried about the stigma that comes with even having the baggage. There's a lot of stigma, especially like you said, in our country. There's a lot of stigma. I can say, in the last 2 years maybe, it's not as prevalent as it was. But there's still a lot of people that, I don't want to get it. It makes me look crazy. You know, we have all these descriptive words for people that get therapy. Oh, she's crazy. She's loony. She ain't wrapped too tight. So they don't want to have that, and they don't want to appear to have that. So it's kind of, let's stuff it down. Let's act like everything is okay, and let's go on. And then it comes out in other ways. Whether it be suicidal thoughts, homicidal thoughts. And it's all because we have so much that we're just suppressing because like we spoke about hope earlier. Sometimes you have hope, but then your hope even gets doused.
That's why you have to have some type of mental stability. Exactly. Because a lot of people, like when you was talking about earlier, dealing with people come from different spaces, times, ethnicities, cultures, all of that. and different traumas. You know, some things
Different
that we
backgrounds.
haven't, you know, when some things that you went through, I haven't went through. Some
Exactly.
things that I went through, you haven't been through.
Exactly.
So I could only, I think it's very imperative to also not only sympathy but empathize if you don't understand. You know,
That's so true.
and because a lot of people in their adult life don't get to live the life that they planned. You know, life didn't
Very
go
true.
the way that they thought it was
would
going to
go.
go.
Exactly.
Some people may had hardship or children at a
Life
young age,
happens.
and or you know things just took a turn,
Just
or
didn't go.
you know, I feel that a lot of times going into relationships, you kind of deal with some type of baggage, to deal with a whole bunch of different baggage. Like, I feel that sometimes you have to deal with people that haven't had the mental health, haven't had the correct therapies, or didn't go to see, like, you know, health physicians with mental health, is that they have a lot of childhood trauma. And a lot of those times they don't really deal with those things, or they don't target those things, and then they take it into their adult life.
Yeah.
And I feel that, you know, like, it's almost kind of a pet peeve when people are like, you know, I don't want to sit in front of a stranger and tell them all my personal business. And it's not about
we know that one.
Right. And it's like, I feel like,
and we're taught that in our culture too.
Yeah.
You don't tell people your business. What goes on in this house stays in this house. What goes on with you stays. We're taught that in our culture as young kids.
And I feel that growing up, I feel what I had to do is redesign my life, rewire the way that I think, my thought pattern, because a lot of the times growing up, you just know that, oh, we go to church on Sunday, and, you know, we go to work, and we do this and we do that, and this is what the family do, so we just do that, and we don't really question those things, but we grew up into what was inhabited. So it's like we don't really know why we're doing things. We just subconsciously just doing things, and we it's so repetitious that it becomes a religious behavior, you know. So it's like I started to stop, think, and started to question, okay, I'm doing this because I grew up on doing this, and this is what my mom did, and probably my mom doing what her mom told her to do. But why am I doing this? Is this benefiting me in my life? You know, so I had to understand that, and I had to understand, like, you know, moving forward, how do I benefit from having this in my life? Like, what is it doing for me?
You.
Is it servicing me? Is this good for
or is
my
it something you were just in the habit of doing?
Yeah, you know, so cutting off those things, rewiring your life, rewiring things that don't serve you. And sometimes those things could be hard because you have done these things for years, or you have been with people for years.
suppressed the same thing for years. You've been suppressing it,
and
when
a lot
you
of
get
times
older,
when you suppress those feelings, you come to a point in your life, like we may have substance abuse or people that we have in our life that we may suppress these thoughts. But when those things come ahead, I think the first thing to do when you have these type of issues is to acknowledge that this is an issue.
It's an issue.
Because as long as you continue to like sweep those things under the rug,
It's gonna grow.
You know, I just feel that. So I feel that, you know, you have to deal with those issues head on, especially when it comes down to these mental things. And sometimes we do things unknowingly that we don't know that is poison in our mind, or it's not doing us it's just doing us a disservice. And sometimes it takes a mental health profession, because sometimes, because familiarity, your friends, your family, you know, you may have good friends in your life or good family members that may, you know, guide you along the way, but they are not licensed professionals to see the specific things that you need to call out the specific things, because a licensed profession, they're not worried about your feelings. They're not worried about, you know, what you're gonna think about they're not judging you, and you have some type of secrecy, you know, because they can't just confidentiality. They can't just go and talk about stuff. But those are things that you probably won't get, or that's not guaranteed. Talking to your mama or talking, is it important to have conversations with your family? Yes, but I think that there should be some type of boundary where, you know, you just don't rely on those type of people.
You touched on a point about therapy and relying on people and going to get professional help. I want to touch on this right quick. Yes, it's very important to seek professional help. However, I've heard people say this, oh, well, wasn't it going to therapy and they killed themselves? Or they seemed so happy and they were, you know, going to therapy and looked like they were, you know, becoming themselves again. And, you know, another, how can I say, facet of that is a person can look like they're doing fine. They can look healthy, and they can be going to therapy, even with a professional. However, there are still some things that can be festering inside, and we can't see it. And I just want to touch on that, not to take away from the therapist or psychologist or the psychiatrist. Of course, they're trained to know these things, to see things, to find out what triggers, you know, lie in front of that person or within that person. But I do want to point out to, you know, the public that we can't always see that. So that's another reason it's important to go somewhere where you can get professional help. You could be my closest friend and I can commit suicide tomorrow. And you would say, well, I was just talking to her and she seemed fine. We were laughing, we were joking, we went shopping. But you never know what's festering inside of you, because I may not expose that to you. Where if I go to someone where I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't really know this person. They're professional. They're not going to judge me. I can expose that to them. And hopefully they will pick up on it and they will see it and they will administer the help that I need. But again, it's still kind of like, you know, you hope that that's the case. Because again, sometimes we don't expose everything. We only tell what we want them to know. So that's like another downside again, because expectation is really big when it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to tell them this. I'm only going to tell them that, because if I tell them this, I expect that they will look at me different. They won't look at me the same, or they'll judge me from here on, or I'm going to be ostracized or criticized. So yeah, it's very important as to what you said about therapy. Also, when you do go to therapy, let it out. Like, let it be known. Don't harbor it. Don't let it fester inside of you. Don't suppress it. It's really sad when we see all of these shootings that's going on, and you know it comes from something that was within that person that just never got a chance to, either for them to get it out or someone else to help them get it out. And it just sat there and grew. And it grew until it exploded.
Right. And one thing I also noticed that because I'm so much of an optimistic solutionist, I want for somebody to do better when they tell me issues or problems. Like, I had to work on listening to people vent, because I want to help them fix it. And what I understood is everybody doesn't look for my advice, which what I'm also going to say is that I can't help you if you don't want the help. So at the end of the day, how bad do you want it? Do you want the help, or do I want the help for you? So that's also the unspoken expectation that a lot of people have, is that just because you're telling me this problem, I feel obligated that I gotta help you fix it.
But they may not want help.
And they may not want help. And they may say they want help, but their actions don't say it. So I feel that it's a combination of both, and I learned to sit back and allow people to do the work and not add on to that. And that's up to me if I want to help somebody become better or do better. You know, I found myself going out my way, helping people because I seen so much potential, or I seen that, okay, this may work, or maybe if I do this, or maybe if I do that, or maybe if I make some good macaroni and cheese and fried chicken, they'll get their life right. Or maybe if I just
spend time with them,
spend time
do
with
something positive,
give it a little so, maybe act right. But that's not always the case, you know. You have to, the actions have to show, and then you have to know that are they willing to put in the work? Are they willing to do better? Are they willing to
and some
go
people
seek
are
help?
comfortable where they are.
And you gotta leave them right there.
Some people are really comfortable where they are.
You gotta leave them right
It's sad, but it's true.
And the thing about that is that when we talk about growth, family and friends sometimes are comfortable where you are right there. And because you have a vision, your vision is not plain to them. They don't see your vision. They don't know where you want to go and what the things that you want to achieve. So when you telling these, that's like speaking Chinese to them. They don't understand that. But at the same time, when you start to go into that stratosphere of meeting those expectations that you make goals, and you start to walk in those things and go through those doors, that's still kind of foreign to the people that was so comfortable seeing you where you were. So that's why it's so crazy when people are like reminding you of your past.
And then we get offended.
Yeah.
You know why? Expectations. We expected them to be happy for us, to be supportive, to be there for us, and they weren't.
You got disappointed.
And they weren't. And I'm going to touch on one more thing, and we're going to let y'all go. But I became a certified peer support specialist in the mental health field for the reason of helping someone, of supporting. There's so many people out here who do not have support of family, of friends, of sisters, of brothers, of spouses, of siblings, of cousins, of co-workers, or anyone. They don't have that support. With that being said, what we do, we go in and we support a mental health client. And even if there's not a mental health client, sometimes you're just having a tough time. I've had to support a woman that had postpartum depression. And all of this is basic support that they couldn't find anywhere else because they're expected to just do it. Oh, you had a baby. Oh, you'll get over it. It's postpartum. You'll be okay. She's not just going to be okay. They need support. And whether that support be, hey, come on, let's sit down and try to find some resources that we can tap into that will help you get out of this, that you're in, this funk you're in. Or do you feel like you need a therapist? Hey, let's do some research and let's find you a therapist. Let's find you a counselor, whatever you need. Let's tap into some resources. Let's see what we can do to make your life better. That's what we do as peer support specialists. And I am plugging for peer support specialists because we need more. There are some out there that are not certified. You guys don't have to be certified, but certification is important if you want to further your career in the mental health field. But yeah, whether they're certified or not, everyone needs support. That's the most important thing. Positive support. Someone that's not going to judge you. Someone that may have similar lived experiences. If you went through depression and I went through depression, then I know how you feel. And you know how I feel. And I'm not going to sit here and just tell you something I Googled. I'm really going to know, I can empathize with this person because I remember when I was there. And a lot of times, again, we have those people, but they have expectations for you to just snap out of it. And a lot of times you can't just snap out of it. If you could, you would. So again, just the expectations that we spoke about, there's positives, there's negatives to it. But as people, I would say in my closing, we need to respect everyone that we come in contact with. You never know who you're coming in contact with. They could be a ticking bomb. They could be the support that you need.
They could be crazy.
They can be, but we don't want to call them crazy. They can be, but they can be a support to you too. It can be somebody positive. So just be mindful of that. And also, after our conversation, we've talked about this before about just, not having those big expectations and not projecting them on other people too. Because that could lead to a lot of disappointment. And when a person is disappointed, sometimes they feel inadequate. Inadequacy makes you feel like, nobody cares. And it's a slippery slope. And you can really just go down.
So what would you like to leave the people with out of all everything?
Let's just try to promote and be positive about healthy mental health. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to be perfect. But get the support you need. Don't suppress it. Don't say, oh, my grandmama said, or my mother said, or my father said, X, Y, Z. You don't tell it. No, get the support you need. Don't suffer in silence. Don't suffer in silence. We've lost friends and family members who suffered in silence. Don't suffer in silence.
Yeah. And what I would say is that if your mind can talk, what would it say? So, and we talked about all the other things, and I want to thank you for coming.
And I thank you for having me.
We had a great time, and we want to leave off with, don't have unspoken expectations of people. Make space for communication, and even if it's uncomfortable, have the uncomfortable conversation. And it's okay. It's okay. I want to thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes,
Me and Lola, we are here. I want y'all to stay tuned. Make sure you follow us. What can they follow you?
Guys, you can follow us. I guess you're going to edit that.
Well,
we don't have
when they can follow you. Oh, okay.
You got to come up with a page.
Okay, we'll come up with a page. But if you want to,
cut that part.
If you want to,
just
see
stay
other
tuned.
Things, make sure you guys stay tuned. We'll be posting it pretty soon. And thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys. See you next time.